No, you can't knock the box off of my desk. Stop it. What are you doing? Stop. Thank you. Good God. Ugh, cats. Am I right? So I should be live. Am I not live? What's going on here? Am I not live? What on earth is happening? According to this, I should be. I should be broadcasting right now. What is... Oh, there it goes. Yep, I am. YouTube just took a little bit to catch up. And you need to stop knocking over my stuff off my desk. Oh, goodness gracious. Hello. Hopefully, I'm out there. I don't know what's going on with the technical issues today. Goodness gracious. Get some models out. Oh, well, good news. Always starting off trying to set things up. My cat's trying to knock things off of the desk, which is driving me absolutely crazy. And then I'm having technical issues where YouTube doesn't want to recognize OBS. That is not what you want for a nice, relaxing day of painting. All right. Well, hopefully everyone's having a nice 1st of July. I know I have had an interesting day, to say the very least. A good day, but an interesting day, to say the very least. Get that tacked down real fast. So, I thought today I'd do a little change of pace. I know we've been working on getting the cog fort built, as well as a plethora of other Warhammer projects, but I thought today I would change it up just a little bit, and we would do some blackout painting. I haven't been very consistent about painting blackout since I got the models, but I've had them for coming up now on 3 months, so I'm actually very excited to get back into it. I kind of stalled out a little bit trying to decide where I wanted to go moving forward as far as the colors I wanted to use. I've been trying to come up with my own custom scheme for my faction, playing Task Force Boone, and I really wanted to do a Martian red kind of theme. And I've been struggling to kind of come up with what I wanted to use color-wise for making them look really distinct on the tabletop. And I kind of decided I would kind of go the route of... And I thought some black would look good on there, but I was really struggling to come up with how to best approach filling out the scheme. I think I have a couple of ideas to really work on it. They're definitely leaning strong in the neutral color scheme kind of region, but there are worse things, I suppose. Where is... I'm trying to find a specific shade of black. Yep, that just happened. My cat just knocked everything off of my shelves right at the start of the stream. Are you kidding me right now? Wow, a whole bunch of stuff just went flying. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'll have to find all that later. Get a kitten, they said. Real Luke, hey, what's going on, Luke? How you doing? Haven't seen me in a while. Honestly, Luke, I have been pretty good. I have just had a hell of a week, and let me tell you, it has been interesting. My work schedule has been all over the place the last few days, and I haven't had any like proper free time here. They've had me closing and opening the next day. It was just a lot of just chaotic scheduling. And I haven't really had much time to myself. And what time I have had has been filled with keeping stuff here at the house pretty much not in complete disarray. So it's just been a bit busy. The Porphyrion is okay. You don't worry about that. Yeah, I'm good. My Knight Defender, several of my modeling stuff, sanding twigs, cutting board, my Fantic just fell off my shelf. But the Porphyrion is okay. I have it shoved really far back there. I am so sorry. I am trying to find a specific color, and I don't know what I did with it. And it's driving me crazy. I know it's here somewhere. I don't think it's with my greens. It is not. Okay. What did I do with it? You'd think I'd be better off. Yeah, I can't find it. Oh, well. I guess I will be using my blackest of blacks instead of my off blacks that I wanted to use today. And that's okay. I need to go through and just organize all of my paints. That's half my problem. Anyway, so yeah, I thought today we'd do something a little bit different. I wanted to treat myself ever so slightly and actually start working on my custom force for BLKOUT today. I've just been getting really into the mood with BLKOUT the last few days. I've thoroughly been enjoying myself learning the lore, really doing some theory crafting, deep diving into the rule set. JD at Spruta Saga is actually getting his own force real soon, I hope. The other knight doesn't matter as long as yeah, the Porphyrion, I promise, is fine. You're not wrong that no other knight matters because it's all plastic. I can just fix it. I'm just more annoyed than anything. The kitten is on one today. As I was setting up for stream today, she actually knocked over almost everything off my desk and started pawing at stuff, and it was driving me crazy. I just need her to calm down. She's on kitty cocaine, as it looks like. Just sprinting across the room, climbing every little thing. She decided as I was setting up she wanted to be on stream today, and then decided that Dad wasn't being very fun letting her destroy his desk. So, alright. Anyway. So yeah, I'm really excited. I've been getting into it, learning a lot about the BLKOUT stuff here as of late, and I have been interacting on BLKOUT Games Instagram page, and it has just been a blast. Although I think they deleted one of my most recent comments. I did insult my best friend, and I don't think they know that we're friends, which is kind of funny if you ask me. So I thought we'd get back to it today and just do a little BLKOUT painting, which I needed to get back to anyway. If you haven't, by the way, if you haven't looked at BLKOUT, it has got to be one of the most affordable tabletop war games I've ever seen. To get an entire army, all you need is $60, and that's just to get the starting forces. And there's not much to an army. It's literally like one set of models, 2 for a few factions, and you're ready to go. $60. The rules are actually free online, and with every purchase that you make on their website, the creators of the game, which are Enemy Spotted Studios, they actually donate a good portion of the sale. I think it's like 10%, 15%. To a charity that was started by veterans for veterans to prevent veteran suicide. And I think that's just wonderful. So I am proud to support the game, since it does not only get you access to a kick-ass little skirmish game that's super easy to learn, very quick, by the way. Very, very quick. I think games take like maybe 45 minutes for new players, and if you're a veteran at it, you could probably knock one out in 30. And you can also help support a charity to help end veteran suicide, which I think is a worthwhile cause, if you ask me. So, I'm not affiliated or anything, so if anyone asks, I am too small of a channel to be affiliated. But, again, that is Enemy Spotted Studios. That is blackoutgame.com. I highly recommend it. I just think it's a good game, and it deserves more fans out there. And if you're interested in anything like that, it's cheap, easy to get into, and you can help support a good cause. Oh, that needs to be shaken. It sounds like I have a little bit of company who just came in. That's good. Alright, let's see here. That's better. I need to mix that up well enough. Oopsies. Alright, so I've been working on trying to figure out what I want to do for my custom scheme here. I really like the idea of doing a Martian red fatigues for my Task Force Boone, since they are... Since they are from Mars, I thought that would be really cool. Hello, Edward. I'm trying not to break my paint bottle here. Jesus. There's a lot of paint in there. Feel free, brother. If you want, come pull it up. Steal my wife's chair. Whatever's in there, just put it on the ground. Luke, no, it's not my wife. It is my best friend, Edward. Although Mrs. Wizard will... She's in the she's not in the chat. Mrs. Wizard will be home here in a couple hours, and I will let her know, Luke. You say hi. Ruler of Randomness. Heyo, what's going on, Ruler? What's going on? Oh! I can't wait to tear this thing apart. Edward 3D printed me a great unclean one that I'm going to destroy for the Porphyrion, and I think it will look fantastic. This model is sick, dude. It's good. It's good. Yeah. I can even glue the hand back on pretty easily, and then destroy this thing with a laser. And all the Nurglings. Perfect. I will have these crushed underneath the weight of all of my, I'll actually put them in here, of all of my knights. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. Yep. These right here are your UN 3rd Battalion models. You can take a look at them if you want to come over here on the light and say hi. Yeah. You're working on your first Lord of Change? Well, awesome. That's...
Legacy model.
Oh, okay. You printed me a disgusting towel and you brought this into my house? That's cool.
No, I wanted to show you.
That is cool.
But you know what? That's a good thought.
That is funny. You're working on your first Lord of Change. I've actually never painted a Lord of Change. Yeah, or rebuilt one. I can have the crisis suit. I'm never going to escape the Tau allegations at this point. Now I have 2 filthy Xenos in my house. That's... Ugh. That's awesome, though. I've never actually built a Lord of Change or painted a Lord of Change. So, that's awesome, though. No, it's not upside down. Do you need help opening the box? Here, I'll show you. Oh, I got paint all over my hands. There you go. That is... So I'll show you here. If you hand me the card, I'll put it on the stream here. So I'm giving you my United Nations 3rd Battalion. So this is your faction card that actually has all your special abilities and your special armory items that you can get in Blackout, which these are all the special rules for your faction. If I can't think of another war game that has this few rules. And the sculpts are really nice. I don't know if I can show it off here on camera very well. Probably not. But this, I'm still painting in progress, but the sculpts are really nice. All designed in-house. Come on, focus. It's not going to focus. But, really high quality detail, all designed in-house, and I think they're cool. I just think these are really cool models. So there you go, brother. There's your UN 3rd Battalion. You can finally start painting. Alright, I think the easiest way to start, so I've got the red fatigues, and I think they look pretty good. I'm going to have to go over very carefully all the detailing around here with my black and my grays. So I need to figure out what I want to look gray and what I want to look black. So I think we'll start with what's on the fatigues themselves, and I think we'll do that gray, and then I could do some of the details black, and I think that'll look really good. I think that'll look really good. But yeah, Luke, I've had a crazy week this week, man, and there's a lot of drama going on at work too. So I don't know what I can say at the moment, but oh no, my blue tack. That's dumb. But yeah, crazy things are afoot. Rebuild. Rebuild my tip. I need to get better blue tech. I think this is just old blue tech. We'll try this. That's going to be a little bit better. I still think that's really cool, Ruler of Random. You're working on a Lord of Change. That's really sick. I haven't worked on any demons, actually. The Great Unclean one I plan on using as basically cannon fodder for my Porphyrion I have, my Imperial Knight. I just think it'd be really cool to like make it look like it's shooting a laser and blowing apart my Great Unclean one. I just think it'd be like really eye-catching. Here's what I need. I need magnifiers for this and more light. Try and keep my face out of the camera if I can. Keep it on the model. I think that red and that gray works really well together. I think that could do a pretty decent job. Not done much here. Edward, since I have you here, and I think it'd be a decent conversation, have you ever looked into the lore for Blackout?
Actually, no, I have not. All I know is that there are military groups that are fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's really better with a few mech suits or enhanced armor.
So yes, I mean it does basically break down to a few military organizations fighting each other. Basically, it's set in the future. I think the year is 2105, if I remember correctly, and they're fighting over a planet called Abol, ABOL. And without getting too long-winded here, the story of it is Earth is destroyed, right? And they had discovered another planet, and they named it after the initials of the two scientists that discovered it, which is where we get the name Abel from. And the UN was put in charge of a program to get people to Abel. It was called the LEAP program. And they built a fleet of ships, and the UN was given basically sole sovereignty over the program to get to Abel, right? Now, they built their fleet of ships, and they were put in charge, and this was the first fleet. And so they send out this fleet, and it takes 30 years to get there because it's far away. And as they get there, they discover that Abel is actually kind of a shitty little planet, right? It's habitable for human life, but it's not comfortable. And they get there and they kind of basically take over, and they go, surprise, we brought weapons with us, we brought nukes, you're now under our command if you want to land on Abel. And that's kind of cool. But what happens is there's a second fleet, and instead of it being a UN thing, the second fleet is national ships. So the countries build their own ships and fly out there, and the United Nations basically lays a trap for them to nuke the ships as they show up, right? Which is called the First Landing War, if I remember correctly. Anyway, after that, the UN declares themselves the leaders of Abel and calls themselves the Authority. And then my faction, Task Force Boone, they're Martians. And when the third fleet was getting ready to go to Abel, the third fleet just straight nuked Earth and killed everyone on it. And so they go to destroy Mars, and it turns out Mars has really good equipment and military and all that. And they actually destroy most of the third fleet by themselves, right?
Wow.
Yeah. It turns out Mars is like, well, we got to go get revenge for what happened to Earth. It's not the right gray. And they now are attacking Able to destroy the authority and destabilize the government. And that's the story of Able, a story of Blackout, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool little game, really cool little story. There's a lot more factions involved, and I just gave you the basic rundown. So your faction are ostensibly the bad guys, and my guys are ostensibly the good guys. But it's a setting where there is no good guy and there is no bad guy.
I don't like 40K.
Not as grimdark, but yes, kind of like 40K. So there you go. Now you have your models, my guy.
Alright then.
So hey, anyway, man. Thank you for swinging by. If you want to hang out for a bit, you can. I'm just gonna hop on and just focus on streaming.
I'm gonna go back and watch FIFA.
All right, high five. Have a good day.
Make sure you put them on paper towel in case.
I will.
Especially when you open them up.
Will do. All right, brother man. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty. Let's see. Ruler of random. I'm taking a break from painting and building the base. It looks like it's standing in a bunch of ruins. Ooh, that'll look really cool, actually. Also, sorry about that, guys. My best friend, one of my best friends, came by and wanted to pick up his models. I've been sitting on them for a hot minute now. So, anyway. But yeah. That's really cool. I think it's awesome. I think the demon models look sick. I have not done anything with demons myself. I am an unabashed Imperial simp. I will stand by the Empire, and if the Emperor had an OnlyFans, I would subscribe. I don't care how many Psyker Souls a month I have to sacrifice. It would be done. I think I'm getting that pretty good. Get that painted there. I think the gray and the red works really well together. I need to wash it. That's what needs to happen. I'm also trying to be somewhat mindful about the angle I'm holding this at, because I've heard advice, you can paint your best and you can paint on camera, but you can't paint your best on camera. But I'm gonna see if I can beat that. You're sent for the Sororitas and Imperial Knights, so you understand. Yes, exactly. That's how it should be. Knights are freaking sick, man. I like Knights a lot. I've always liked Knights. I wouldn't say that they've been my favorite forever. That would be a lie, but I really like Imperial Knights. Imperial Knights are sick. Damn it. See if I can't pull it out. I paint my finger in the process. Oopsies. And my hand. Yeah. It's dried pretty much. Oh well. That's okay. Let's get some more gray on the brush. That's not what I wanted. I need it just a little bit thicker. Still a little thin, but I'll work. Yeah, and Knights are cool. I just really like the Knights, because who doesn't like giant mecha? Am I right? Giant mecha is always just cool. I'm trying to keep it on camera if I can. Sorry. Yeah, I think that gray is going to work out just fine. Okay. Get the side of that container there. Got a little bit of gray on there. Kind of wipe that away if I can. I'll go over that with another red. I am trying to minimize what mistakes I make if I can, but I'm not the best at painting, unfortunately. But you never get better unless you do it. That's been my issue, is I just don't do it enough. What I need is probably better equipment, and by better equipment, I mean a different sized brush, because I may just be shooting myself in the foot here. There we go. Rebuild that tip there. Let's see if we can't get some work done with a smaller brush. What do you say, Zach? Get that damp a little bit. We'll just load up on some of that gray. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that'll work. All right, let's get in here. What do you say? Use that. Yeah, I think these are just really good looking models, in my opinion. They're really good looking models. I think the sculpts are really nice. I love the future yet grounded military aesthetic. I think a near future aesthetic is just really good, you know? It's just, you have enough fantasy elements there because it is set in the future, but it also feels grounded and solid, and I think that's just good. And then Call of Duty just overdid it and kind of saturated the art style a little too much. But I can't blame them because the aesthetic is just nice. There we are. But yeah, as Call of Duty definitely oversaturated the market on it, just ever so slightly, and that's a shame. Like I said, it's better. It's better than most aesthetics out there, at least in my opinion, when it comes to military settings, proper military settings. Getting there real fast. Little nooks and crannies. Need to get this more on camera. I'm holding it here too much, so it's going away. But I think that looks good so far. Let's see here. I think that looks pretty solid. Problem is I'm trying to make sure all the gray is in a nice even coat here, and that's a little easier said than done since it's such a dark shade, but I think it looks solid so far. Now, I know Final, if he were here, he would say sub-assemblies are the way to go. And I've always been intimidated by sub-assemblies, and I don't know why. I think my issue is that I need to see the model built in order to feel like I've made any progress, but sub-assemblies would help. In this particular case, I would not be able to do any kind of sub-assembly. All the parts for these kits, because there are apparently multi-part kits you can get. Well, not I say multi-parts. They're in pieces. They're not all one piece. Um, but they are 3D printed on a resin printer, so it's going to be a situation of, uh, you don't have options to paint specific, or have different kits that you can put on and you can paint separately. But for me, because none of those were available when I ordered my models, it was all just one piece. I don't really have the luxury of doing any kind of sub-assemblies. And then you have Final Gaming, who, if you say sub-assembly 3 times really quickly, he shows up out of nowhere. That's not bad. It's not terrible. It's not good. I'm not a good painter, but that's better than most things I've painted. So, painting is a skill that if 10,000 hours is like the limit of what you need to be a master, I would be a master painter if watching YouTube videos and understanding the theory behind painting was all you needed to get good at painting. I understand the painting techniques and in theory, it's the practice that gets me. But it's coming along. That's not terrible. It's not good. It's not terrible. That's not terrible at all, actually. Okay. The hard part is coming to terms with what I've painted, because I now have to start painting other pieces of the model for their base paint, because I have to get ready for the one thing I'm actually super nervous about, the dry brushing. I've put in a lot of time and effort to try to make the red look good, which I think I've done an okay job. I wouldn't say it's great by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to make sure I get this part right, because I don't want to have to go back over everything else if I don't have to. But we'll see. We'll see if I can manage to do this without making a complete fool of myself. I have faith in me, because somebody has to. Alright. First things first. Let's go ahead and get the black done. Just going to load up my brush here. Try to make sure it's thin enough, but not too thin. I'm not going for a wash consistency. Alright, I'm going to test it out real fast. See how I'm looking here. Yeah, it spreads on pretty glossy. Okay. So that spreads on pretty good. Spreads on pretty glossy. We'll just go over the helmet real fast. Make sure I'm not spilling over too much. Now, my plan is we'll go ahead and paint this nice and black. And then I'm going to go over it with a bright gray. I'm going to stick my finger in my paint. A bright gray dry brush. wet paint on the tip of my finger. I am not a smart man. If anyone's out there and you feel self-conscious about your quality of painting, just keep in mind, I am an idiot. Because I am putting my ineptitude at painting on the internet for everyone to see. And believe me, I'm more than a little self-conscious about it. But you know what? I hope someone out there sees me, idiot, struggling at what I'm doing, but still doing it anyway. And if I can inspire one person to build or paint a model today, I'd say today's a pretty good day at that point. Okay, a little bit more black paint. Gotta go roll the tip there just a little bit. Alright, let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, doing alright. Got some nice gloss there. Trying to get the earmuffs here for the communique. I just want to get everything but the visor if I can help it. This is annoying. Ah, fuck it. We'll just get the visor's gonna get paint anyway. It's a nice black, good coverage, nice and glossy, but I can't really see where my brush tip is half the time, which is unfortunate. And if you hear a cat hissing and yowling at the top of its lungs, it's just the puppy trying to kill him. Okay. That's not terrible there. The same note, why don't I go ahead... Yeah, let's go ahead and get the gun blacked out as well. Might as well. I'll need to get a metallic at some point. Okay, looking pretty good, I think. Like I said, little messy, but not bad. Try to do something here. See if I can't adjust the camera ever so slightly, so I can get a little closer to the model, but keep it on camera. Get some paint on the brush again. A lot of detail here on this gun. It's good. Trying to see where exactly the stock goes. If I was a little bit more careful with my red, I don't think I'd be in this position, but I was not as careful as I should have been. So now the stock is slightly red in some of the spots where I need to paint. And yet so is the sleeve, and that is going to get me. But I think I see the shape of it, so I shouldn't have that much of a problem. Just get that painted up as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty good. Like I said, it's a little hard to tell. I don't have all the light in the world that I want, but I might be able to actually try not to hit my camera stand here. See if I can't move a light real quick. Get me just a little bit more luminosity on the model and see where I'm at. So far, if anyone's just joining us now, normally I don't sound like this. I have a brush in my teeth. But I am just working on trying to get this Task Force Boone model all painted up. And, yeah, I think that's coming along okay. It's not my best work, and like I said, I'm just getting some base coats on it for right now. So I'm not overly worried just yet. But I need to go ahead, get some of that detailing in there. Make sure everything is appropriately base coated, because the next step will actually be dry brushing all of this black to pop the detail of the model, because it actually has a ton of detail. I know it's hard to tell, especially right now at the stage of painting that I'm in, which is very early and not very good, which I understand. But there is a ton of detail on these sculpts, and it really is a lot. And these models, I cannot stress to you how just solid they are in terms of their quality. There is some stuff you'll notice if you get models for yourself for BLKOUT is that you can see some layer lines if you're being really scrutinizing. But in general, the models themselves are actually really good. So, just thought, once I get some dry brush on there, a lot of that detail I think is going to pop naturally. At least that's kind of what I'm hoping for anyway. Now, let's look at that belt. So we got the holster here for the pistol. I'm going to go ahead and just give that a touch up of black as well. Which I'm trying to do on camera. I really apologize here. It's just, I get so sucked into looking at the model. But I think should be fine here. Gotta get that into the holster. Not bad. I don't think it's too much at all. Okay. Get some more black on the tip of that brush there. I think part of it is it's starting to dry on the brush, so we'll just touch up with some water. Bring that paint back to life. Yep, okay, looking pretty solid there. Try to get rid of any of that white. And we'll just get the tip of the holster there. Not bad, I say. Not bad. I'm actually relatively pleased with this. I'm trying to minimize any, and I mean any, mess-ups on the red if I can help it. But, and as soon as I say something, oh well. Gonna have to touch that up, but it's not much. But yeah, it's not bad. The holster's got some good coloring on it. Need to go through and get the gun a little bit later, but I don't know that I want to do the same base coat because I'm not sure the best way to go about doing the handle of the pistol there. It's not bad. Okay, touch that up just a touch. Get that side corner there. These belt loops are actually more of a pain in the neck than I thought they'd be. They're not the worst, but just not getting what I thought I wanted to get out of that. Trying to keep that here. Let's see. Get that light out of my way. It's just right up in my face. There we go. That's a little better. Let's get a little bit more paint here. Okay. Got a black belt there. Okay, let's wash off this brush here. So, we've got the black down on the helmet, which is not perfect, as I can kind of see some spots where I may have missed. Yeah, looks like it. Well, shit. We'll just touch that up real fast. Okay, there we go. All right, so that should be the last of the black I needed there. Just to go touch up some base coats. Next up, I'm going to try to do some dry brushing. Now, normally when you dry brush, it's actually ideal to use a proper texture palette. I don't have any of those. I could, in theory, make my own. I have enough sprue here. I might be able to knock out a texture palette. But as of right now, don't really have that option. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to do the paper towel method. It's a tried and true method. It's not the best method, and anyone who does any amount of dry brushing will tell you that it's not great. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. And the problem with the paper towel method is that the paper towel method, it seems counterintuitive, right? It's called dry brushing. You would assume dry brushing means it needs to be dry. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't need to be dry. You actually want some moisture. You just don't want a lot of moisture. So normally what you do is you'll wet your dry brush, get a good amount of water there, kind of brush off the excess from your skim, and then you can always dry a little bit off here on the paper towel. But you don't want to dry too much. You want some moisture in those bristles. I just dried it a little too much, so we're just going to try that one more time. You want some moisture there. Very little, but some. Because if you don't, any paint that you use will actually get chalky. We're going to try this here. Get some paint in the bristles there. Not too much, and then I'm just going to start brushing off my dry brush. Okay, let's see, that might work there. Okay, so now we're going to try this here. Trying to be very light with this because I want the black to still show. Okay, try a little bit more. I think the problem is I didn't have enough saturation in almost all the bristles here for the dry brush. There we go. Try this again. Okay, it's pretty light. Okay, let's try that. So, we'll try that again. Again, I just kind of want to do the texture on the helmet. There's a lot of paint on that still in there, yeah. It's a little bit heavy, unfortunately. Heavier than I wanted, but it's not the end of the world because I still have the light color I wanted to try to do. Kind of rinse that out a little bit. Try to do some... Now, I have a second pot here of just slightly, and I mean ever so slightly, soaped water. And that just kind of helps break apart any dried bits of paint that I've got into the brush. And I find it helps if you have just a little bit, and I mean a touch. I use Dawn soap for the most part for that. I mean, barely a drop. Sometimes I'll even scrape out some of the excess of one drop and have just a residue in there. And I find it, just like I said, it helps break apart anything that's super, super, like, dried on to the bristles, and it helps kind of... Like, I also do mineral spirits for oil washes and whatnot, and I find that that typically helps prevent a lot of really just stubborn bits of paint. Breaks apart metallic flecks, anything that's stuck in the paint if you painted metallics. It just helps ever so slightly. I don't do it all the time, but when I'm doing stages that I really just want to be absolutely certain are going to be just clean between color choices, that's when I'll do something like that. And it, like I said, it varies. You don't have to. Some people probably have a little bit of an opinion about whether or not you should do anything like that for like your brushes, for taking good care of them. If I had natural bristle brushes, I'd probably be more inclined to not do that. That's not working out at all how I wanted it to. Okay, let's try this again. We're just going to go ahead. Made a mistake. I've done something I don't care for in the paint job so far. So we're just going to reset. We're just going to touch this up with a good amount of black again, and we're going to start over. Let's see if this works. I might be able to get something out of this I like, but I really want that black helmet with just like a light, slightly light gray dry brushing, and I may have just been a little too aggressive with my first layer, and that's okay. Shit happens. It's not the end of the world to just go back over it with the black and thin that stuff down. Get that touched up here. See if I can't fix this. Well, I can. All right, let's try that again. So, did not get what I wanted color-wise. That's all right. Shit happens. Let's try that again. We'll just wash out my dry brush. I think the easiest thing to do would be take this warm gray here Deposit that there, and we'll just mix in a little of this black into it. Let's see what we get. Just keep mixing it. Yeah, that's more like what I needed. Okay, so we'll just brush that out, clean off the brush, see where we at there. That was a sentence. Where we at? Okay. Get that darker gray there. Okay. All right, let's try that. Kind of barely trying to get in. I'm not putting any pressure down at all. I'm just barely touching this thing. Work you into the bristles a little bit. Let's try that again. Let's try that. There we go. All right, so we got that nice warm gray. Let's just kind of lighten it. There we go. That's a little bit better. So I'm still getting a good amount of that detail in there. I'm going to try to hit it one more time with a lighter gray over the top of that. But it's kind of hard to make out on the camera. But it is softening that black we put on it as the undercoat, which is nice. So now it's kind of like more of like a charcoalish gray slash charcoalish black rather than just a straight black, which is exactly what I was hoping would happen here. Now, it's not popping the details as much as I want it to, but that's okay, because I can always hit it with another coat, with another brighter gray, and get those details the way I want them to. Which I will do. Kind of get a texture edge highlighting there. But that, I think that looks pretty solid so far. So, now what we'll try is going back to that light gray, and I'm not even really gonna get rid of the color that's already in the bristles. I think if we can kind of meld the two together anyway, that's That's more like it there. Okay. Let's see if we can't do with that. I think this could be good. At least I hope so. Again, I'm going to try to get a good amount of that paint out of the dry brush. I want it to just barely kiss the model there. So I'm just going to keep going. There we are. Okay, let's see what we can do with that. Kind of go at it from the back a little bit. There's a lot of detail in the back of the helmet I want to make sure we get as well. Yeah, that looks pretty solid, I think. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so we've got that there, which is nice. The helmet looks okay. Again, it's kind of hard to tell on the camera. One, because it's not right up on the camera. I am using, at the end of the day, a phone camera for it. But the black on the helmet has actually grown quite nicely in the direction I wanted it to, which I'm quite pleased with. I'm quite chuffed with. Now, one of the things that... Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, there we go. Turn that up just a little bit. So I've got that, which is nice. Now, what I want to do is I got to figure out how I want to paint this backpack. That's gonna be the deciding factor for me here, and figure out the best way to approach the gun. Now, I could just slap a bunch of black on it, but I know some of the parts, at least from video games, aren't just black. So I really need to focus on getting that the way I want it to look. And then I'm going to have to go back over the red, and I'm going to have to go back over some of the other parts on it, on the model, where I wasn't exactly as careful as I probably should have been. But that's not the end of the world. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm in. This should be good. This should be fun. I gotta get this dry brush as clean as I can, which is the only thing I'm even remotely worried about. Okay, that should be good. All right, let's try this bad boy out real quick, and then we'll get moving on. So, kind of using this one model here as like a test run. I have other ones here to paint, obviously, so I'm not going to just do the one. But I am trying to figure out the best way to approach painting the model the way I want it to look. So these are my test bed models. I have more that I actually really am interested in painting as well. These aren't the actual main force. If you have anyone's interested in Blackout, this isn't the main force. This is the Strike Force expansion. The main force actually has even more detail, more gear on the model that I am looking forward to. But I want to use these secondary models, these expansion models, to kind of gauge how I want to approach painting the rest of it. And so far, this is actually coming together nicer than I expected it to, which is actually like really nice. I was really worried that this was going to be more of a slog than it was. I kind of hit the wall thinking about how I wanted to paint these models, which is half of my frustration with them. Because I didn't know where to go. I knew I wanted the red for the fatigues, but I really didn't know what other direction to go with the rest of it. Right? The base color scheme is actually something closer to a modern American military setup. Except the Strike Force expansion set, the models that they paint have white helmets, which that's a choice. I don't know that I understand the choice, but it's a choice. But I think this will work out really, really well. Need to get some more paint here. Oh, I'm not even painting on camera. I'm dumb. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's see here. Okay. Kind of getting there here. Okay, so we've got that going. That looks good so far. Gonna get the glove here. Kind of run that over. Now the back. Now the backpack, I don't know how to approach this one. That's kind of one thing I'm actually rather intimidated by is the backpack. Alright. I feel like it would be the easiest. Ooh, no you don't. To go over that with a larger brush. And I think what I'll do is I'll do the same gray that I did for the rest of the armor kit on the torso. And just kind of go over it with the same gray. Kind of thin that out ever so slightly. Let's see how it kind of... It's semi-glazy, but that's okay. Okay. Now, we'll just thin that out, dry that out. See if I can't sop up any excess paint off the model here. Kind of dry it out. Not bad, though. Okay. Got that kind of painted up there. Tainted up would be an entirely different thing, and that would be Chaos, which is the wrong game setting. So that's my first one here. I believe this is a member of the control team for Task Force Boone's Strike Force expansion. That sounds right to me. I think that's correct. Ah, that's what I need to do. Get some more gray. Alright. That's what I get for using the wrong size brush in the wrong spot. That's okay. I can fix that. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Just have to touch back up the red on the uniform ever so slightly. Get some black on here. Some more black. Okay. So that is some base coating done. Okay. Now comes, I think, the more difficult part, which is figuring out what I did with my dry brush. That's a good question. What did I do with it? Did I drop it? No? Okay. Well, I don't know what I did with it. That's fun. Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay. So now I have to... That's a good question. I want to figure out how to best approach this. Well, first things first, I need to go ahead and get a nice tan here. We need a good khaki here, because I need to go ahead and get some of the detail pieces of the rifle painted. Also figure out what I want to do as far as painting some of the aspects on the rig on the chest, and then dry brush the gray of the harness for the kit. And then we should be good from there. I'll change brushes for this one. Alright, so let's move these bad boys out the way. Actually, let's get some water. Okay, let's see how I'm looking here. Work. Paint that foregrip. This is actually more nerve-wracking than I thought it would be. Holy moly. Gotta paint that foregrip. Okay. There we go. Got a little bit up on the gun. That's annoying. But that's okay. Okay. Got the angled foregrip. The other part's going to be getting the hollow sight. May have the wrong brush overall for that, but that's alright. It's not the worst thing in the world. Just get a smaller brush. So there we are. Let's get a smaller brush and see if I can get that hollow side on the front there. That's going to be interesting. Now, like I said, this is just the base coats of paint. So I'm not too worried here. I am, however, a little concerned about painting it from the other side. Now, this front part will actually be pretty easy to get. But coming at it from the front of the set model's perspective is actually going to be more nerve-wracking than painting it from the side or from the back. Because I have to get between the helmet, and I do not want to get any of this on the helmet. I just got the nice dry brushing on there. Luna, did you miss anything? Not really. I mean, I just really been working and fleshing out my paint scheme here for my Task Force Boone models. So that's pretty much all that you've missed. You missed me messing up on the helmet and having to start all the way over from scratch. But that was pretty much it. There really wasn't too much to it other than that. Okay. It's actually, like, this part's the one that's freaking me out. Stolas, what's going on? Happy Canada Day? Well, I didn't know it was Canada Day. Happy Canada Day. You guys want to hear something that I found absolutely fascinating, by the way? At the risk of potentially saying something possibly ever so slightly mean about the UK. Did you know that there's a massive amount of ranch being smuggled out of the United States to go to the United Kingdom? Like, recently? Did you see the models you posted? Did I see the models that you posted to the model showcase? I believe I did. Was that the kit bash that you did? I pulled it up the other day. Honestly, my week has just been a nightmare. I haven't really known what day it's been, period. But I thought I saw something about Space Marines you kit bashed. Come on, Discord. Can you cooperate with me for 2 seconds? Yeah, Stolas, I'm not even joking. The TSA has been... I cannot open Discord. Discord is not working right now. Yeah, the TSA has been confiscating people smuggling bottles of ranch. They had to issue a statement telling people that they cannot take ranch with them on their flight. I'm not even joking. It's crazy. It's like, apparently people are smuggling it to try to get back to the UK because they really liked it while they were here. They're like, oh my god, ranch dressing's amazing. So, the United States has done irreparable harm to the culture of the United Kingdom. Because now they want to season their food. A harmless joke, Luna. A harmless joke, I assure you. Okay, let's see here. I truly do not know what the best way to go about doing this is. Why does the UK hate freedom? Well, it's the United States that's doing it, my guy. That's the best part. It's the United States TSA that's hold on 1 second, actually. Coming, honey. 1 second, guys. Oh God, no. Aha! There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Had to go fix the garage door, which was acting up. It turns out a box I put in there, unfortunately, fell in front of the sensor, and that's why our garage door was not working. Yes, stole this. Sorry about that. Yes, no liquids, but the UK is attempting to smuggle large amounts of Hidden Valley Ranch out of the country. You got Wazdaka today? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Why? Listen, the orcs are great. My wife really likes the Wazdaka model, but she likes the squigs more than the guy on the bike. She's a squig fiend, that one. She's cute though. I think I'll keep her. Yeah, my I guess the garage. Well, we've had an issue with the garage door for a little bit. I may or may not have been a child at one point in time and punched the garage door sensor in a fit of rage because my wife and I were having a nasty, stupid fight over something that doesn't really matter in the end.
Punched the garage door sensor?
I told you about this.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Why, of all things, is that what you did?
We will talk about it later. You don't want me sharing that story right now.
Perfect.
Just remember that was the night I took Chewy. Alrighty here. So, thought we'd get back to this. I'm actually really struggling.
There's cat litter in the middle of the floor.
Mm-hmm. Because somebody's managed to figure out how to push the cat tree out of the way.
What the fuck? Which one of them?
The small one.
God
Okay, I don't know what I want to do here. I've got this pack here on the back. I think I'm going to paint that a light gray.
What did you do with your coat?
Mine? In here. Why? You want one? Okay, here. You want? I'll get it. Yeah.
Why are you gatekeeping them?
What'd you say?
Why are you gatekeeping them?
I'm not gatekeeping them. Here.
I'm gonna work on W painting.
Okay. I love you, babe.
Do it!
W space wife, don't give him an inch. Lady Wizard, you have fans who love you, apparently.
I love that.
W space wife, that's funny. Don't encourage my wife to yell at me. It hurts my feelings. let's see here. Ignore the random sheep. Okay, let's see here. I gotta get this figured out. Get this back here. I'm really liking this. The sculpt is actually really nice. I'm also starting to really dig the paint job here. Really starting to like the color scheme here. It's coming alive. I think the cream was necessary. But let's see if we can't make this work. I'm also going to do the same thing for the front of this, I think. Let's see if we can't get this to work out, though. What?
I was looking for a table.
Oh.
My little black card table.
Luna, you got the Armageddon box set? Well done. Would you like your card table? Okay. I'll give it to you. My wife, ladies and gentlemen, is working on a diamond painting. It has become her new recent hyperfixation, and I'm proud of her. I wish she'd want to build models and paint them with her husband as much as she wants to diamond paint. Let's get this battery pack on the back of the helmet painted up close. The Armageddon box set is nice. If I had $300 to throw at an Armageddon box, I would. Alas, I don't have that kind of money, but I want to. And one day, I will. But that day is not this day. The diamond paintings are fun. They're very precise. She's been having a blast with them. She's had like a diamond painting game on her phone that she's been playing for a while, and she had a few diamond paint sets, and she just decided to bust them out. She's been going at it for a few days, and she's made some serious progress. She started working on it over a year ago. That one that she's working on now, but my wife also squirrels very hardly, and so she kind of leaves a project alone for months to years on end, and then comes back to it randomly. But when she comes back to it, she goes full tilt, that one. So, and if it brings her zen and peace, because she needs that kind of thing and a calming presence in her life, I'm all about it. So I support her in this endeavor. Let her do what she wants to do. If it lets her relax. The new models look good. I've seen the sculpts. Final did some videos and actually did a tour of the Armageddon box set on his channel, and I have to say it looks like a lot of fun. The orcs look great. I think that's the strongest part of the whole box, though, is the orcs. The Space Marines are kind of meh, is what I've heard. I really want to get them, though, because of the Firstborn helmets. I love Firstborn Marines. Primaris Marines and I, we have a love-hate relationship. But there are worse things. There are worse things. So I'm in. I like it. I like it. And if you've got it, I'm jealous, Luna. So you know what? Enjoy it. Love it. And take good care of it, because I desperately, and I mean desperately, want to get the Armageddon box at some point. It won't happen anytime soon, though. I can say that with confidence, which means I'll have to see if I can get a hold of one way later, secondhand, and probably for an exorbitant amount of price. Or just wait until the individual models get released. But instead of getting the Armageddon box, I got the City of Ash box for Age of Sigmar. And I have to be honest with you, those models are nice. The cities range, fantastic. I can't wait to get to work on the cog for it again. Primaris Marines are just kind of redundant, but I don't hate them. You know, at the risk of sparking chaos is better debate, I have a very particular reason why I hate the Primaris Marines. The hatred has waned a little bit, not much, but a little bit. And the reason I hate them stems from the reason why I got into the hobby to begin with. Right? I love the Space Wolves. I got into the hobby and latched onto the Space Wolves as my anchor into the hobby. And so when my first ever Space Marine chapter were Space Wolves. I love Space Wolves. Space Wolves are my jam. Okay? The problem is the reason I picked the Space Wolves originally were because the Space Wolves could not have any successor chapters. That was their whole shtick. They could not have a successor chapter. If you wanted Space Wolves to be your successors, or to have successors, they would fail every time. That was their whole shtick, and I loved it because of that. Right? They failed every time they tried. It ended horribly. Like the only time they ever tried, which was the Wolf Brothers chapter, it failed so horribly that the Inquisition classified the whole thing, and the High Lords of Terra said never again. And the Space Wolves were allowed to have more Space Marines than any other chapter. Right? So, like, before the start of 8th edition, there were over 13,000 Space Wolves. Right? But then, what happened was, when the Primaris were released, one, they artificially, like in the lore, killed off all but just under 1,000 Firstborn Space Wolves. And they replaced the number with Primaris Marines. And at the time, Primaris Marines weren't even really sons of the Primarchs. Their gene seed had all 20 Primarchs, plus the Emperor, plus Belisarius Caul's gene inside the gene seed. So that was originally the Primaris gene seed. And then they were immune to the flaws of the gene seed. So the Space Wolves no longer had the Curse of the Wolfen with the Canis Helix, and the Blood Angels didn't have the Red Thirst or the Black Rage, right? Normally that wouldn't be that big of an issue for me, right? Except that also stabilized the Space Wolves' Canis Helix, because all Space Wolves have to take the Canis Helix, even if they don't have a Lehman Russ gene seed, to become a Space Wolf, and it stabilized it to the point where they couldn't be Wolfen, but they can now have successor chapters. And I think there are several successor chapters now. I think the Wolf Spears or the Spears of Russ, I can't remember. They are the new, the only named new successor chapter to the Space Wolves. So we got rid of the identity of the Space Wolves by getting rid of the Curse of the Wolfen, by letting them have successor chapters, and reducing their numbers to less than 1,000 brothers. Right? Which they built back up with the Primaris Marines, but they weren't really Space Wolves. And that just really got under my craw. And I couldn't get past it. I was like, these are my boys. I love the Space Wolves. You've killed them. You've killed the Space Wolves for me. And, you know, am I being hyperbolic? Sure. You could say I'm being hyperbolic. I would even attest and agree with you I'm being hyperbolic. But that was the reason I liked the chapter, and then they got rid of it entirely by the introduction of the Primaris Marines, which were stronger, faster, taller, and had quicker reaction times than the Firstborn. So they were to the Firstborn, they were Space Marines to Immortal, right? So the Firstborn are massive upgrades to a normal human being, but the Primaris were a massive upgrade to the regular Space Marine, so they are the equal, what separates a Space Marine from a human is what separates a Primaris from a Firstborn. And I really didn't like that. And I kind of just never forgave them for it, personally. So I always really identified with the Firstborn because that's what brought me into the hobby. Long story short, that's why I was so disappointed by the introduction of the Primaris. They've softened on that a lot, though. Now the Primaris gene seed isn't talked about with all of the different genetics. It's just the Primarch that the gene seed is derived from. They've cut back on the immune to the flaws and scaled it down to, well, they're not immune, they're just hyper resistant to, they kind of got rid of the hyper resistancy to the flaws. So now, like, they quietly, without ever addressing it again, they quietly moved away from the firstborn, or the Primaris are so much better than the firstborn to kind of, they're interchangeable by just getting rid of the firstborn. You always learn so much here. That's the problem with being in the hobby for 20 years. I'm basically a grognard, even though I've never built and played at a whole army or played at the tabletop. I've just been involved in the lore for so long. I'm actually working on some long-form content videos, which I'm sure people are like, we've heard that before. But I am working on some long-form content style videos with my dad, of all things. He's also really just starting to get into the deeper lore of 40K, and so we've kind of been working together, and we've actually recorded our first session together, talking about the history of Games Workshop and the history of where 40K comes from. And that was actually a lot of fun. I'm still working on editing everything together. It's a lot of information to go through, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be to finally get that edited and published. So I think we're sitting at just over an hour and a half of a recording that I have to edit down. It's actually what I've been up to for the last week, besides my schedule being absolutely crazy. I'm hoping to try to get that out soon. I don't know when I'll be able to get it out, but I'm hoping it'll be soon. Which I think is a lot of fun. I think walking my dad through the history of 40K, and then eventually we're going to start talking about lore stuff. We've already picked out our next topic that we're going to talk about. I just got to get some research and put together a script. But I think talking about the history within 40K, we're going to talk about the Human Federation, the AI Wars, and the Age of Strife is in our next recording session. So I'm actually really excited to get that done. Hopefully, Stolas, you'll like it. Of course, my dad, I will warn you, wants to, in a positive spirit, wants to poke fun at you just a little bit and go, so what's the best faction in 40K and why is it the Imperium? He enjoys hearing about your and I arguments on the stream all the time. Lore topic: which Primarch is best / worst kisser? Oh man. Well, I think best. We have to agree, right? Like it's close. It's close. It has to be Sanguinius, with Fulgrim as a good honorable mention for best. Worst, initially, you would think Lehman Russ, but I have an argument here. I think it's Ferrus Manus or Rogel Dorn. I think it's one of those two. If I had to guess, I would go with Ferrus Manus more than Rogel, because cold metal hands. But that's my guess. That's my guess. I'm going with best has got to be Sanguinius. Fulgrim has a close second, but I think Sanguinius wins out. And then you've got, I think it's Ferrus Manus is the worst, with Rogel Dorn as a solid backup there. I'm sure I can't wait to be told how I'm definitely wrong on that one. I love how you picked a loyalist. Listen, man, listen, for worst, but yes, 1,000%. Look, Perturabo, Conrad Kurz is very close. Do not get me wrong. But I feel like Conrad Kurz he's just crazy, He's really just there's an unnerving factor to him. and you're not sure whether or not he's going to rip out your face. But when it comes to like awkward, I'm going to go with it's got to be Rogel or Ferris, because I feel like the social awkwardness is really what does it. Yes, my love. Well, actually, no, I have not showed them Inky today, but Inky did try to ruin my setup as I was setting up for stream today. Do you want Inky to be on camera? Yeah, you just knocked the camera around. You're going to give the audience vertigo if you don't stop it. It's okay. You want to show them? Okay. In order to do this properly, we got to raise the camera up a little bit, and we can just... My wife, ladies and gentlemen, would like to show off Inky, who is more interested in what's on my desk, because she's been knocking my models around like crazy. Do not touch the paint, cat. Also, do not drink the paint water. No.
I'm so glad I have caused chaos.
Yes. Angron kisses with passion. You're not wrong. That's the problem. I think Angron does a great job.
Okay, kitten cam can be done.
Kitten cam can be done. She's just... She came over here and started knocking my models off my desk. It was awful this morning. Or this earlier. Yes, Angron is great. I have to be honest with you on that one as a choice. But like, if we're ranking all of them, I honestly like. I think Rogel Dorn, Ferris Manus, Conrad Kurz are in F tier for sure. I don't think there's anyone else in F tier in particular, but those three. And then I think in D tier, you definitely have Lorgar. For sure. Lorgar... I have to put Gillum in there. There's not a lot of good. Like, I think most of them are pretty mid. Although I will say, I think Conrad Kurz, I think Corvus Corax might actually, he gets the goth vote for sure. I think the Salamander's Primarch would be a generous kisser. I think the Salamander's Primarch is not an S tier, but he would be an A tier. He's not the one that people want to kiss necessarily the most, but he also, like, no one's going to complain about it. You know, that's the vibe I get from him. Is like, people are like, he's okay, but then but he's not their first pick, but then you get there and everyone's like, wow, he's actually just fantastic. You know what I mean? That's the vibe I get from old Vulcan there. Gilliman kisses elves. Is that confirmed? I don't think that's confirmed, okay? I think you're spreading Xenos propaganda, and you are a heretic, not a Xenos converter. Come on now. Even the heretics agree that the Xenos don't deserve it, right? They just think the Emperor sucks. They think Xenos are also just vile, horrible monstrosities. So come on now, you gotta stay in your lane, Stolas. Let's see here. Yeah, I could see you. Yeah. I think I stand by my statements. Because I'm be honest with you, I'm pretty sure most of the Trader Primarchs, they be fucking. You know, that's all I'm saying. I'm pretty sure. This is way too wet. Fucking blue tack's not working out very well for me over here. You alright, hon? Okay. Don't hurt yourself. I think the problem is... I need a smaller fucking dry brush is what I need. I'm just going to let that dry out. I think what I'll do is I'll get a smaller brush, dry brush. Anyway, yeah, no, Chaos Primarchs, they be getting some action, I think. So, I can't even be upset, you know. I can't even be upset with them. They're doing the Dark Lord's work. Now, I can confirm that I think they there's a wider spectrum for them. I think the loyalists tend to be more congregated towards the center, with honorable mentions of absolute abject failure. Because I think Ferrus Manus and Rogaldorn, they're just going to be just awkward enough. You know what I mean? Like they're just going to be awkward enough that you're gonna be like, okay, well this isn't working out. Not the way that not the way a lover would want anyway. God damn, I'm not getting what I want with this freaking dry brush. I would have thought having this cork here would actually be perfect for a texture palette. I saw a short. The guy said to shoot Eldar and send their souls to Slaanesh, and every comment was people calling them heretics. Because we want to kill Eldar? Listen, I'm in. Let's send the Eldar to Slaanesh. Think I'm gonna cavort with fucking space elves? Come on now. I'm gonna go with these people don't know exactly what the word heretic means. You're not saying to worship Slaanesh. The death. Oh, really? The Death Watch and Grey Knights Return Spirits. Well, I know they work sometimes with Craft World, but I think that's just the Imperium at large. Sometimes works with Craft World. So, I don't know. All right, let's try that. I don't like any way the direction is going on this backpack here. So we're just gonna fuck it. We're just gonna go over the backpack. We're just gonna go over the backpack. I'm struggling with this, and I don't know why I'm struggling with this. And then there's the dog attacking the cat. Hooray. Things are going so well over for me all of a sudden. We can't empower the enemy. We can't, Stolas. We can't let... Listen, we can set aside our differences, our philosophical differences when it comes to who's right and who's wrong between the forces of chaos and the forces of the Imperium. As long as you and I can both agree the Xenos need to die. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. If we can both agree that the filthy Xenos don't deserve to live in the galaxy alongside humanity, whether or not we worship the God Emperor, or we worship Slanesh, or Korn, or, false gods, we can all agree that there's no way in this vast galaxy, Emperor or Dark Gods be willing, that we will live alongside filthy, disgusting Xenos. And I think you and I think we can agree on that. And come to an understanding. An important and empowering understanding. That mankind is the best. And if you're not a member of our species, then why on earth should we care? I'm a grand wizard. That caught me off guard. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to hold that for just a second. Because I need to go back over this gun real fast. Because I don't know what's going on. That mini dry brush is just not working the way it should. Okay. Let's just, Okay, there we go. Did that there. It's getting better. Let that dry for a second. Let's see. I feel like the Emperor's Children would get on with Xenos and maybe Alpha Legion. I think the Alpha Legion might, out of necessity. You know, weirdly enough, who does get along well with Xenos, weirdly enough, are the Red Corsairs. They work with Xenos quite well, actually. But I think it's a situation of necessity. They have to, you know? Okay. Get that in there for the gun. I could see that. How cool would it be if Huron attacked with some freebooters in Drukhari? That would be freaking sick. That would be sick. I would love that. If we get some freebooters with some red course, you know what? That might be a worthwhile kit bash, actually. I am in. That would be amazing, Stolas. Oh my god. You got some, homie, you got some ideas. I like where your head's at. God damn it, Blue Tack. Come on now. You're still new, but you really love 40. Stole this. No, man. You're doing just fine. You know what? Whenever I get it, I will publish it, and I hope you watch. My dad and I's recordings, I think, are going to be nice. We're trying to turn that into a weekly show kind of thing where we just explore the universe of 40K together. Because he knows some. He's read the books. He understands, like, there's a difference between 30K and 40K. He's been going through the Horse Heresy stuff, and he's actually thoroughly loving it. He really does enjoy it. He still thinks Horus pre-Fall to Chaos is his favorite Primarch. We're still exploring the rest of it. We will be doing recordings together more often and kind of just exploring the different facets of the world of 40K. And then I want to do a book club with him where we'll record, like, getting together, and we'll pick a book, and like I think we'll leave it open for people to, like, make recommendations, because I think, you know, he wants to finish up the Horse Heresy stuff, but I think it'd be really cool to, like, go off and just read some Caiaphas Cain, or, you know, do a detour and, like, hey, let's go read the Dark Imperium novels or the Plague War novels, or, you know, insert Carcharodons, the Carcharodon book. That would be sick. You know, talk about the Space Sharks, or go into some, like, the Space Wolves Omnibus. The first ever 40K book trilogy I ever read was the Space Wolves Omnibus, with the origins of Ragnar Blackmane. I think it'd be really cool and just kind of explore the different facets of the universe that we kind of know and love. I think that would be really, really sick. Something really, really compelling, and it would get him further into 40K because his exposure has been through me, Space Marine, Dark Tide, and the Horus Heresy books that I've gotten him to read, which he's making significant headway on. I've told him I need him to tell me when he's going to get ready to read The End and the Death, and we'll read them together. Because I think, I can't wait to see what his opinions are about The End and the Death. And then I want to go into the Eisenhorn books after that, immediately after The End and the Death, because I have a theory about the King in Yellow, and I really want to see what his take is on it. But I need him to read The End and the Death first, so he understands the context. And he's like really excited to get into the Scouring. He wants to see what happens after that. He's really liking the universe, man. He's loving the deep dives. He's loving the lore. He is learning. He's truly just all about it, and I'm so happy he is. Genuinely, I'm so stoked for him. I think he'll have a blast with it. You'll absolutely watch. Well, good, man. Good. I really hope, man. Like, my dad, he's loving it. Like I said, I still got to edit it together, put together a video, edit the audio. I might have to go back and re-record some stuff with him and have him do fake reactions like, oh, I didn't know that. Because, we discussed quite a bit of it. But we went through the whole history, man. The whole history of Games Workshop and 40K and fantasy and all of that, just to kind of explain the origins of this great and vast universe, and he loved it. He really did. But now I want to get on and talk about some of the stuff in 40K. That I think he would love. I really wanted him to get into The Last Church, that audio drama, because I've heard it's good. It's really good. If you've not listened to it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not a huge Emperor. Like I like the Empire and the Imperium because they are the human main characters, and as such, they are the good guys to me. However, I will say this: I'm not a huge fan of the Emperor as a character. But I really enjoyed The Last Church. It really explains his philosophy very, very well, I think. That's amazing. My dad never tried to share my interest. I had to force myself to watch sports. He wanted to. He wanted to get in. He likes to support me, but growing up, it was always kind of like this little bit of like his eyes would glaze over kind of thing. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. But he actually has thoroughly enjoyed Warhammer, and I kind of didn't really give him a choice to enjoy Warhammer. I kind of just got involved with it, and everyone, including my best friends, and my wife, I've dragged them in kicking and screaming, just through sheer gravitational force of will, which has been my ongoing experience. But he's a good dad. I love my dad. Come on now, get some paint on there. At least it gives me a chance to go back over the red here on the fatigues that I didn't quite like how I did. God damn it. This is frustrating. This is why I put this off, because I forgot how annoyed I am at painting. I hate it, but I love having good painted models. You can't have painted models if you don't paint. Alright. I'll need to find a stopping point here. I have to go cook dinner at some point and feed the animals. There we go. It's so wild to see Americans getting crazy for soccer. Fun fact, my dad has always been a big fan of soccer. He has he's been a Manchester United fan for as long as I've known him. He likes soccer quite a bit. I grew up in the house where we called it football, for God's sakes. Until we discovered that soccer was actually the original term for the sport because... Oh, I say original term. It was the original term that was given to the Americans by the Brits. But if you honestly think that that's crazy, let me tell you something, Stolas. Do you remember the American team that won at cricket? Because if you don't, you should. Because America cared about cricket for about 5.5 minutes when the part-time team, who all have jobs, won the world competition for cricket. We Americans, we love one thing: dominating at sport. We may not care about soccer here too much, but god dang it. If it's coming here and America is playing, every American's going to want to get involved in some way, shape, or form. It's just the way of the world for us, unfortunately. Yeah, my dad loves soccer. We grew up watching it. I don't care too much for sports, period, either, but I knew soccer. I know more about soccer than I care to, because again, I'm just not a huge sports guy. But yeah, Man U. I know my family, my dad anyway, and my brother-in-law, they love soccer. My brother-in-law actually plays soccer amateurly. He doesn't play professionally, but he's pretty good. And we always talk about how bad Liverpool is. Like, my family does not like Liverpool, I guess. I didn't realize we hated it, but any chance to joke about hating the UK, I'm in. I don't actually hate the UK, but I want to visit, actually. I would love to visit the UK. I love medieval history. Love medieval history. And I love English medieval history the most. I like the spirit of competition, so I like watching for that. You actually like baseball. You know what? Baseball's an alright sport. I do enjoy a little bit of baseball. I also really enjoy a little bit of American football, too. My dad really likes baseball as well. My dad's just a sports guy. He'll watch pretty much anything except for, like, professional bowling. And that brief time that they tried to make professional dodgeball a thing. That's a thing. Look that up if you're not familiar. The knives in London are super heated right now. I'll tell you what I've been more entertained by than anything else is not the Americans so stupid comments, which there are a lot of lately. It's the debate about air conditioning that really entertains me the most. Okay. I gotta wash this off. You can't watch golf. My dad watches golf. He watched the Masters. They actually went out and bought that limited edition alcohol bottle for the Masters to watch the Masters. Golf, is not entertaining for me. Most sports aren't that entertaining. I understand American football. I played Little League football, so I can watch American football. It's really not that bad, but yeah, there's not very many sports that I'm like, ah, yes, this, I must watch this. And I don't know why I did a Russian accent. Ugh, I must watch. This is entertaining. And I'm still continuing to do a Russian accent. I make no apologies. Alright. I will need to go back over quite a bit of this to lighten it back up, but that's not bad. There we go. Oh no, it dried. Fuck. I need to dry that out. I need to touch up that helmet, but I can't do that with any kind of wet bristles on this. Okay, there we go. That's not bad. I just gotta touch up that spot in the uniform. Well, that's not terrible. I'll have to go back over the glove again to get it back down to black because of the dry brush there. I need to go back over and touch up the uniform, but it's coming along. It's not great. I've spent almost 2 hours trying to paint this one model, but part of it is I need to figure out exactly how I want to paint it. This is the test, and then of course the rest are just going to be touching these bad boys up here. So not the worst things in the world, but definitely not the easiest thing in the world either. But it'll be what it is, because I think, so far, I can see the vision. I just have to touch back up the uniform, fatigues a little bit, go in and paint some details here. I gotta figure out what I want to do for the magazine. I want to make it a different color from the actual rifle, but it's coming along. So, I think there is one thing I want to do before I call it today, and that is I want to wash the model, and that's what we're going to do real fast. Now, I don't need to wash everything. I'm going to actually just wash the grays and everything else, but I will be washing my model. Just to kind of tie everything back together a little bit here. We'll just do that there. Okay. So why don't we just go ahead and splash some of that over it. I still can't tell what you're painting. I will actually show you before I am done, and we'll. The problem is I don't have a dedicated camera that's good for miniatures. Is my only issue. but it'll be okay. I will show you here when I can get a second. I'll have to pull up OBS to make sure I can get the proper camera here. And of course, part of the problem is I need the streaming quality is not going to be perfect for this, unfortunately. It just, there's some quality degradation. I could just record this on OBS and probably make a video out of it, and it'd probably be a little bit better, but that's okay. We'll just brush that up. Let's hit the gun real quick. Just kind of get a good amount of wash there. And then, but I am actually working on nothing, this is actually not Warhammer related, weirdly enough. It's one of the few times I'm going to do non-Warhammer related somethings. This is for BLKOUT, BLKOUT is how they spell it. It is a tabletop war game. It is a skirmish game. And if you've ever been intimidated by like Warhammer, you really like the universe, but you've been intimidated to get into it because of the cost to get into Warhammer, or you're like, man, I just can't dedicate 4 hours of my day to playing a game of Warhammer. I get it. This is actually the perfect solution. One, the models are actually relatively cheap. All you need to buy an entire army, just to get started to play, $60 US. To get an entire army, which is like compared to Warhammer prices, that's actually super cheap. And then game length wise, the game is actually really short. It's like maybe 35 minutes, 40 minutes, and that's, I mean, obviously that's if you know what you're doing, but it don't take much. You could get in, play a quick game, and get out, and it's not going to be one of those games like in Warhammer, you know, there's like the meme of, oh, you know, I started playing, and I knew within 20 minutes I was going to lose, but you have to play out the whole game. This is one of those games that it's like everything's really balanced. There's no one faction that's more powerful than another faction inherently. Every faction's viable. Every game is usually a nail-biter kind of game. Like, it can go either way the entire time, and until the last dice is rolled. Like, there's no, like, guaranteed victory here where you're like, nope, I'm going to lose. I might as well just go ahead and capitulate or anything like that, which makes the game really interesting to me. Here, I'll pull up the model here in just a sec. I'm just going over, dabbing off all that excess wash. I don't want it to tea stain or coffee stain at all. Okay, here. So I'm going to try to show it to you. Like I said, possibly easier said than done. But this right here is, if it'll focus. If it'll focus, it's not going to focus. Let's see if I can't. This guy right here is my BLKOUT model. He is a soldier from Mars, basically. So I was kind of going for like a Martian red kind of theme in terms of the color scheme. And the sculpts are actually pretty detailed. I mean, they're 3D printed on a resin printer, but they look good. They look good, good amount of detail on them. The stances are all completely custom. I mean, you can't really tell on that one because of the way it's set up, but here's another one I was working on. And if you look, I don't know if it'll show up on camera. I doubt it. It's too fine of a detail, but the tip of the boot sticking here off of the base, and there's a boot here. There's actually, they put tread in on the sneakers. Again, you can't really tell that here. It's not really in the best position, and the camera's not detailed enough to get that close to it without getting out of focus. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool models here. Very highly detailed sculpts, and just near future sci-fi soldiers based off of real U.S. military and other militaries, obviously. But the Boone, the faction this is specifically U.S. military, and it's really cool. And I'm actually really excited. I've got them here. I went a little too far all out and purchased not just one force, because there's some factions have expansions, and that's what these guys are. But I also have purchased both sets for Task Force Boone here. And now I've got to figure out the paint scheme for these guys and the recipe I want to do. And I will be attempting to join a painting competition. There's a competition. There's not many YouTubers that cover this game. It's really small right now. But there's a YouTuber by the name of Matt's Miniature Problem. His channel's fantastic. He covers Blackout and the Old World and all of that stuff. Now, Matt's Miniature Problem, he runs a competition every month. If you can paint up your force and you post it to his Discord and you've not won before, they can like judge your painting skill and judge like the scheme that you come up with and everything. And if you win, he actually sends you a free unit within the game. And it's just because he loves it. He's not affiliated with the guys that do it. He buys it himself. And like I said, it's a cheap game to get into. It's a quick game to get into. And it's so easy to learn, right? You have the meme of 40K where you throw a bunch of dice everywhere. All you need are some D10s. And you don't need many. I mean, the most you're going to roll at one time is 3, maybe 4 dice. It's super quick, super simple to learn. I taught my wife last night the basics of how to play. And we did that in maybe a 5-10 minute conversation at most. And yeah, it's great. And the one thing I love is that for every purchase, if you are going to purchase from blackoutgame.com, their website, 15%, 10 to 15% of every order that you place is donated to a charity that's made by veterans to help prevent veteran suicide. Which I think is not only do you get a very fun skirmish game that's super cheap, super easy to learn, very quick to play, with really good quality sculpts, but also it's for a good cause. You're not just getting a game out of it, you're helping end veteran suicide through a charity, as well as supporting a veteran-owned business. Because this game was made by veterans, for veterans, and I just think that's really cool. It's nice to hear someone making something like that. I love the lore of Warhammer, but their pricing is downright predatory. Exactly. Look, I say it all the time, we love Warhammer not because of GW, in spite of GW. GW is price gouging. Is there any reason... Oh, here, you know what? Great example. Let's just put this on camera. Is there any reason at all, why this hunk of plastic, which is half of a model, should cost $800? I mean, the whole model itself, not just half, but this is $800. That's it's actually $660, but then you have the shipping and handling involved. I mean, this is an $800 model. Why? Right? I mean, look, I love it because I love... Oh no, mold release. I didn't get it off the cannon. Now my paint's peeling off. That's... Oh man. What a shame. What a downright shame. That's annoying. Well, I'm going to have to paint that over again. But anyway, you're right. It's predatory. It's because it's a tale of two GWs. The first GW is, of course, the company that loves the lore, that loves the hobby, that loves its customers, and wants the customers to succeed. And then the other side is the massively corporate side of things. It makes no sense. Realistically, no, but the market has been established. Exactly. I mean, exactly. And that's the thing. Why not go out and support a game company? Like, Trench Crusade is great for people because it has the most momentum. It has the most chance of putting GW in a position on the back foot. I don't care for Trench Crusade. I have a plethora of reasons why I don't care for Trench Crusade, and I will never buy Trench Crusade because of it. But, that's a me thing. I don't expect anyone else to not buy Trench Crusade. But I think people should go out there and support a company that, one, cares about the game. You know what the best part is? Not only is the game cheap, not only can you buy an army for relatively inexpensive, not only can you play a game that's actually a lot of fun, very well designed, where every faction is not an automatic win faction, and you actually have a chance to play and win the game at any stage in the game. Not only is that a thing, but they put the rulebook, the basic rulebook, out there for free. You can go buy the rulebook from their website for $0 and download the whole thing. And not only is that like encouraged by the developers, they also say you don't need their miniatures to play the game. Name a gaming company that says you don't need our minis to play our game. There's not many. Not even Trench Crusade can say that. Not that they would be opposed to, like proxies or something, but like it's not a company position to be like, hey, you don't have to buy from us if you want to play our game. Here's our rules for free. Go play it and tell us what you think. I think it's great. It's the same thing with gaming. DLCs and loot boxes are predatory, but no one is going to fight it. I think it's starting to change. I think if you look at the marketplace, if you look at, like, let's get into the gaming bubble. Let's get into the gaming bubble. If you want to look at the marketplace for video games, if you want to look at exactly how it's all set up, look at my incredibly messy desk that's disorganized as hell. AAA gaming's never going to change, and that's just a fact at this point. AAA gaming is never going to change. It won't change. It's going to be predatory, just like Games Workshop is. However, there is a bit of hope here because AAA gaming is dying and people are pushing to indie games. Microtransactions may never leave the gaming sphere ever, but that's okay because you have games coming out built by people who actually care about the games, care about the quality of the game, and want the game to do well, and focus on the most important thing, and that's the customer, and providing a good customer experience, right? I look at things like Owlcat and Rogue Trader. It's fantastic. Baldur's Gate 3, fantastic. Let's see, the $80 price tag on GTA 6 says different. But it doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't. Because that's a AAA game. Rockstar and all the AAA games are going to go $80. But if you look at indie games, if you look at smaller companies, if you look at independent developers, Steam is full of great indie games that I absolutely thoroughly love and enjoy. I play all the time. That are cheap, have no microtransactions in them. They want the players to have fun, and that's their main goal. And I think gaming is going through a boom and a bust at the same time. The bubble of AAA is bursting right before our eyes. The Steam machine is super expensive. Well, of course, it has to be, right? It's because, Steam isn't going to sell it at a loss. But Xbox is raising its price. Xbox Series S is going to be $500. There's nothing worth $500 in the Series S. The Series S is a terrible machine compared to the Series X, and the Series S is $800. It's going to be $500. The X is going to be $800, I think. The PlayStation 6 is looking at $700, $800 for that. It doesn't make any sense. It's not feasible. It's not sustainable. But they're not pricing it for sustainability. They're pricing it so they can keep themselves afloat, because that's the direction AAA gaming is going, right? You know what? Here, let me pull up my Steam real fast, and I'll rattle off a few games that I think are fantastic, that are relatively cheap. Game I thoroughly enjoy, has 0 microtransactions in it, as far as I can tell. Is you've got Foxhole. Foxhole Entrenched is a great game. I loved Foxhole. Foxhole's fantastic. Mountain Blade Bannerlord, I have hundreds of hours in. There's no microtransactions in that game. It's just guys who are passionate about it, that love the game. Let's see. Fate Keeper just came out. Single player game. Story driven, great world, got good design. A little bit older design in game, but it's a lot of fun. And again, relatively cheap. Let's see. Hard West, Jagged Alliance, Manor Lords also came out. It was really, really good. Schedule 1. Shadows of Doubt, detective procedural game. Absolutely love that game. A Tabletop Tavern, a roguelike RTS game. Fantastic as well. No microtransactions in it. Windrose, a pirate game that came out. Indie developers, 30-man team. Fantastic game. Fantastic game. So there are options out there for sure. Switch 2 pricing is a joke too. Exactly. It's the major companies that rule gaming that's really deciding that factor, and it truly is just awful. But yeah, there's options out there for sure. Anyway, I got tied up in that. Sorry about that, Stolas. I have strong opinions about the gaming sphere, and I'm also not happy with the direction that things are going in that front. But I do have to unfortunately get going. It's 5:30 for me, and I have to start cooking dinner if I'm gonna have dinner on time tonight. So I'll have to get going here. But I want to say, guys, if you enjoyed anything today, if enjoyed hanging out with me or talking with me, I greatly appreciate a like on the video. It does wonders for the channel. If you want to leave a comment, let me know how I'm doing. It's great. If you like what I'm doing and want to see more, please feel free to leave a subscription. I'd love to see you guys in the future, but I want to make sure that I earn it first. I will see you guys later, and until then,